If you watch Chelsea game yesterday, you will see how frustrated Estevao was, to the point that he had to even concede a card for intentionally fouling an elite player. You will see that Estevao was frustrated because why? You cannot mix up good players with mediocre players. For goodness sake, how would you tell me that you will have two natural right backs, Mologosto and Reece James, and you will decide to bench them and you will go and feature Chaloba off his position as a right back? You will feature Tosin and Badiashile as centre backs when you know that these two players are mediocre players and they are too slow. Leeds United, you know, is physical and very fast. We have tried this over and over again. We have seen that it is not working. It has never worked for us. Badiashile and Tosin, whether you combine Badiashile and Chaloba, it will not work for us. Maresca, how do we learn? The midfield was totally open. In some quality players were struggling. In fact, the likes of Delap, to me, has no business in Chelsea. It is about time we discuss the situation of Delap. If Delap does not want to play for Chelsea, let him come out clean and tell us that he doesn't want to play. To me, in my opinion, Delap does not suit into Chelsea. And I think it is about time Chelsea begins to consider sending him on loan. To even think that you will now pair the likes of Delap and Joao Pedro in the same game. This is suicide mission now. This is suicide mission. If you feature Delap and Joao Pedro up front, you have killed us. You have ruined the game totally. Who now plays that midfield for us? Who was even playing that midfield? I can't even remember who was, because the midfield was just open, that they were just scoring us, playing us as though we were playing Conference League. Too bad for a team like Chelsea. In fact, it was a complete eyesore. Too awful. You just don't want to even watch the game. There was nothing to hold on to. In fact, as a Chelsea fan, every Chelsea fan, you will just see clearly when you see the lineup, you will just know that Maresca does not want to win this game. He didn't have the intention of winning that game. There was no intention whatsoever to win that game. The lineup alone just sent the message that Maresca had no intention of winning that game. Because how would you tell me you bring out such a lineup, Gittins, Estevao, and then you now have Fernandez, you now have Santos, you now have Chaloba, Badiashile? For goodness sake, Maresca, for goodness sake, help us, because we have suffered enough. Help us. The shame is too much, because right now as Chelsea fans, we can't even discuss in the public. You can't even say anything in the open, because you will not tell me that we are progressing with this kind of approach. With this kind of approach, how do we progress? 1 step forward, 10 steps backward. When teams are already meeting with smaller teams and they are collecting their points, that is when Chelsea is conceding to smaller teams. When we ought to be growing and build our points with these smaller teams, is it now when we now meet Manchester City? Or